Hello, welcome to Her Journey Home. I'm your host, Sophia Noel Graniella. My mission here is simple: to hold space for honest stories and conversations that are usually left unsaid. This podcast is for the women in seasons of becoming, rebuilding their lives, reclaiming their voice, and remembering who they were before the world told them who to be. So come as you are, and let's begin the journey home together. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Her Journey Home. I am so freaking excited for today. I have a very special guest here. Her name is Krystal. She is a confidence mentor, and she helps women become the most iconic version of themselves. So get excited because this conversation is going to be freaking epic. Welcome, Krystal, to Her Journey Home.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and have this conversation with you.
Oh my gosh, and me too. And for anyone that's new here, Krystal just recently moved to Valencia, Spain, which is somewhere that I've been wanting to move for a while. So we're going to dive into like all the nitty gritty, but oh my gosh, how is Spain?
It's incredible. Incredible. The tapas, the people, the sun, the lifestyle. I love it. Like, I feel like I've actually just felt so at peace and can actually like relax and just take a deep exhale. And that's how it feels.
Oh my gosh. Well, clearly I'm very excited. I've been living through your stories. So I figured we'd start with just a little fun question there. But I would love for anyone who's just meeting you for the first time on today's episode, tell us a little bit more about your energy, your journey, and what led you to this chapter of your life.
Yes, such a good question. So a little bit about me. Personality and energy wise, I will definitely be your biggest hype girl. I will help you romanticize your life. I will help you have the most fun, spontaneous parts, like just really pulling that out of you. Not necessarily always like the bubbliest person, but I definitely find like so much enjoyment and pleasure and also just purpose and having fun in like the little moments, and helping other people do the same. I think I also have like a deeper side to me that I didn't play too much into in my 20s. So I can definitely be like the hypersensitive, emotional girly. And I think I used to have to feel like I had to hide that. Have done a lot of healing, a lot of work to realize that the duality, like most of us hold duality. And that's actually what makes us unique and makes us us. Yeah. And then as far as my journey, it's been very nonlinear, very many pivots. I think I've always had big ambition, really like identified with like being a high achiever, or just like chasing the next thing. I always wanted this like big life that didn't, look like most people's. So that's definitely been something that's important to me, which obviously has led to me living in Spain in this chapter. And I think I got here because I really took a hard look and realized that I was doing a lot of like performance of high achieving tendencies. I was like performing confidence. I wanted to like look the part or look successful instead of actually building like what success meant to me. And so I had a lot of like almost, I would say, like I would almost, get the job or almost get the career and almost like have the people, like all of those things kind of felt like most of my 20s of being an almost. Or I would, try to be there for my people. Like a lot of my friends got married in their early mid 20s, like got married, had kids, had the house, all of the things. And so I'm like such a people person. I would try to be there for them and like want to support them in that. And I think kind of realized, especially in my later 20s, that that's not a bad thing. Like I think that's a beautiful thing. And at the same time, like I was kind of neglecting myself and what really like lit me up and the dreams that I had kind of felt like they got put on a shelf. And so like the last couple of years have really been diving into like, what do I want to do? Like what would light me up? And really like learning how to choose myself in a new and different way, which has led to moving to Spain.
Oh my gosh, this is incredible. And thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. I think so many women listening can resonate with the 20s feeling like an almost. I've actually never heard someone describe it as that. And the entire time I'm shaking my head yes, because I'm like, oh my gosh, that was my journey as well. And just like everything looking really good on paper and from the outside, people thinking like, oh, she's this way. But on the inside, I was so disconnected from myself. And it sounds like in your 20s, there was a lot of like experimentation, career changes, travel, trying to really like discover and explore who you are. So I would love to know like what did that season of life in your 20s of like the almosts teach you about identity and self-trust?
Yeah. No, I mean, it taught me a lot. And I think part of it is like the explorer side. I think that's just like who I am. Like I will always be an explorer. I always like to travel. Like I also like to explore like inward, like what's going on internally. And so I think that's partially personality or just partially interest. But I think through all of the pivots, like I was a pilot in my early 20s and then I've been really lucky that I got to actually explore. I know not everyone gets to do that. But then I, traveled and tried travel blogging for a little bit and then worked at startups and hated corporate. But I've like done a lot of those things. And I think the biggest thing that it taught me is that we actually have so many of the answers inside of us already, but often we don't trust ourselves enough. So we'll go and seek, I was always asking people's approval. Like when I knew deep down I didn't want to be a pilot anymore, I was like, what is my family going to think? Or what are my friends going to say? Everyone thinks it's so cool that I'm doing this. And I would ask a bunch of people for their opinions and try to get that validation when it's truly like intuitively, I knew like it was time to move on. Like same thing even with like starting, a business. I like have done a lot of different iterations of my business and there's parts of it that I've liked and not liked. And some of that I think really does come from you exploring and letting yourself like try different things. But I think ultimately you have a lot of the answers inside of you. You just haven't really trusted them fully. And I think that's what through all of the pivots and explorations, I definitely found the through line in like what I'm doing today with confidence of like building that piece into like a real true like backing yourself, choosing yourself, really actually being confident instead of like performing confident. And that was like my whole journey in my 20s.
Wow. Okay. I have so many questions.
I know.
I'm just like, holy shit, like this is gonna land with so many people. It's like that big performance and just giving yourself the permission, right? Instead of reaching for permission from other people and looking for, okay, what is my friend gonna think? What's my family gonna think? What is my job gonna think? It's like you always have the answers within. And I think we do live in a society where we've been taught to raise our hand and ask for permission since we were little girls in school, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like we've been conditioned to believe that like this is the way to do it. And so through that, we get so disconnected from our authentic truth and our inner voice and our intuition and the thing that never leads us in the wrong direction, right?
Yeah.
And so like for you, I would love to know like how did you walk yourself through those moments where you heard that inner voice and you're like, okay, I know I don't want to be a pilot anymore, or I know I don't want to work in this corporate job anymore. But like what did that process feel like maybe for a woman that's listening and she's like, okay, I know what I don't want to do, but like how the hell do I actually take the steps to trust myself and to not do this anymore?
Yeah. I mean, I learned the hard way for sure. I did it all wrong, I would say at the beginning. And I think I like held on to, asking for people's opinions because the self-trust was lacking, but I think the thing with self-trust is it's not like a feeling necessarily. It's not just like, oh, I believe in myself and I'm going to go for it. Same with confidence. It's like so much more than a feeling. Like you have to build it. And it really is just taking it like one step at a time and getting really honest. Like at a certain point, I was like, I just trust that I'm going to figure it out. Like, I don't have to know what it's going to look like, but I'm going to figure it out because I've always figured it out. Sometimes it took a lot longer, like months of really like sitting in that and just knowing that was like the right move, but not having like the belief and the confidence to actually make that move. And I think I was waiting for like a feeling a lot of the times. Like we want to feel motivated or feel like we have it all together. And the reality is like, there's always going to be uncertainty when you're making that step. And it's knowing that that's okay. Like that's actually what's supposed to be there. Like it's not going to be handed to you with this, here's the road to follow as much as we want it to be. And so even like now I have to remind myself of like, that's just life. Like it's going to feel uncertain in the middle. It's not always going to be a clear path, but do I trust myself enough to figure it out? Even if it doesn't go well, even if I don't, it doesn't work out the way I think it is going to. Yeah. But I would say for sure there were times where I spun out on that for like months longer than I needed to.
Oh, 100%. And when you're saying that, I'm thinking to myself, like, you have to find past proof and evidence that things work out for you. Because oftentimes our minds like to take us down those dark rabbit holes of like, this isn't going to work out, and the worry and the doubt and all these things that we're not good enough. But then we have to look back at the past of like, oh, wait a minute. I was always taken care of. Like, this did come through when I stopped having that death grip on the outcome.
Yes.
right? Like
Yeah.
you surrender to all the possibilities. You're like, okay, I care about this, but I don't need to know all the little details. I don't need to know the how and the when. I just have to look at that past evidence and trust, like, you know what? Whatever is meant for me, I know this is so cliche, but like it will work out the way that it is meant to.
No, absolutely. And it happens so much faster when you release the grip, which is like, I can think of the times that like, I moved to Hawaii like super quickly. I just decided I want to do it. 3 months later, had done it. Or like, I wanted a new corporate job and like doubled my income, found a new job in 6 weeks. And those times where it happened really quickly, it wasn't that I was certain in the outcome. I just was way more certain in myself. And I kind of released the grip, like you're saying, like I'm not focusing on the outcome. I'm just focusing on like, I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to make this happen. It's so cliche, but like honestly, when we do like surrender, it all works out. Like it really does.
It really does. And it does really take that deep level of self-trust. I think that's
Yeah.
like the biggest piece here that a lot of women are like, okay, but how do I trust myself? And I would love to know from you, like, are there any like tangible steps or advice that you have for a woman who wants to continue showing up for herself and taking those baby steps and actually going after the things that light her heart and her soul on fire? But she's just like a little bit unsure still. She's like, I don't know. What if I get judged? Or what if this goes against like the societal blueprint or the rules that we've been given, right? Of what like life should look like.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that those thoughts are going to come up no matter what. It's being okay with that too. And like being a lot more neutral around those things instead of trying to make so much meaning around it. Like, I think, especially if you're going around against maybe like societal blueprints or whatever your family taught you, there's going to be a lot of stories around that. And can you be like a little bit more neutral around that? So like, it is just kind of releasing a lot of the pressure and releasing a lot of like, I can't control how someone's going to perceive me. I can just control how I respond. And that's not easy to do at all. But like this whole conversation, right? It's a lot of like releasing the grip and a lot of focusing on like, when I think of self-trust, like how am I speaking to myself? Am I telling myself like this isn't going to work? Well, then yeah, it's not going to work. But if I'm telling myself like, yeah, my mom's not going to like this reaction when I tell her I don't want kids, but I trust that I'm going to like be able to hold myself through that. I can go have a good cry and I'm going to come out and be okay. It's always like the micro moments, and that's so freaking annoying to hear, I think, because we want it to be like this big moment and it feels beautiful. And then like we were just confident and it all worked out and it was great. It was like, no, like, no, it was like all the little baby steps. And then you look back and you're like, wow, I freaking did it. You know, I went against the grain and I moved abroad, or I'm not having kids and I'm like so happy about this life decision. And you know, whether your parents don't like it or not, like that's up to them. But I've found that for most clients and most people like I've talked with, or even in myself, we make it out to be so much worse than it's actually going to be. And people actually typically respond a lot better than we think it's going to be. But we just play up those stories.
It's so true. We make it up to be this huge thing. And like, sure, maybe there's going to be some people that don't like it. And maybe there's going to be some people that judge you. But the honest thing that I've realized is it's usually not as big as we make it out to be in our minds.
Yeah.
Because our minds love to create these like elaborate stories, and it doesn't even manifest that way. But also like, at the end of the day, you have to understand people are going to judge you and have something to say, whether you are living a soul-sucking life and working at a 9 to 5 and sitting at a desk all day, or whether you are taking the biggest risk of your life and moving to Spain and starting your business. Like someone's always going to have something to say. And so like the biggest thing is like, get so clear on your values and your why and what lights you up, and follow that path. Because wouldn't you rather be judged for doing what you actually love and being who you are and taking the mask off, versus living a life where you feel like you're suffocating and you're like, this sucks?
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be judgment either way. So like, pick your poison.
Right, exactly. And like, you're the only one who has to live with the consequences of your decisions for your life. Like, you live your life, you know? And so your parents or your grandparents or whatever they're saying, like, that's honestly mostly a projection too, half the time. If they're not agreeing or that's not what they would choose, like, that's okay. They're not you.
Exactly. It's totally okay. And I think you also made a really good point about the baby steps, right? It's like, I think as humans, we're wired for that like really quick instant gratification. And we want that like big moment where everything shifts. But it's like, how do you show up for yourself each and every day when no one's watching you behind the scenes? Like,
Yeah.
are you keeping the promises that you make to yourself? Like, what is it? How do you speak to yourself when no one's listening? Like,
Yeah.
those are the moments where you have to do that over and over again, like you said. Like, the repetition and the action will then build the confidence.
Yeah, exactly. I always feel like the action is like that's the part that people either go like way into like the mindset feelies and like I love that like you know or like we're just like grinding action and like they have to coexist I think because that really like solidifies it like the action really helps like you solidify all the talk the self-talk right it's one thing to just say nice little thoughts to your like self but if you're not taking action you're not solidifying it and it's vice versa too you can be taking action but shit talking yourself sorry I don't know if I can swear
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I already have so many times.
okay and like you're not gonna get the result that you think you're gonna get even by doing it all right you know so
Absolutely. And I think that's also so crucial to touch on too, because I think some of us are so stuck in our feminine and like the woo woo. And don't get me wrong, I love the woo. But we get so into this like, oh, like think about it and manifest and it'll come into your life. And it's like, but you're missing the crucial piece, which is literally taking the action and doing the uncomfortable shit, right? You
yeah
have to be willing to take the action and start before you're ready, start when you're terrified, start when you have no idea what you're doing. And then the clarity will come when you take the action.
yeah
And I think some of us do that backwards. It's like, oh no, we'll just think about it, we'll meditate on it, we'll manifest, and it'll come. It's like, but we have to do the human part, which is the action.
Right. Yeah. And that's like the fastest way to build clarity. Like, I don't think I've ever gotten that much clarity from just journaling it out. Like, I've always tried different things too. And I always think, like, God, the universe, whatever you believe in, it's like, well, if you're not taking action and you're like asking, I want this blessing in my business or this blessing in this, it's like, what is there to bless if you're not moving on it? Right. Like, there's got to be something. So just got to do
Exactly.
your part.
Oh my gosh. Well, we know that you're queen of action because you had this idea to move to Spain. When did you know you wanted to move to Spain? Like how long ago?
Yeah, this was probably a year and a half ago. A friend and I had talked about going and then it was probably been like the last 10 months that I've been like actively pursuing it. And I knew I didn't want to go until like end of last year. It just took a little bit longer than I thought it would. So
But you're there and we had
we're
patience.
here.
And again, like for anyone listening to this, sometimes you have to like put the idea out into the universe. You have to get prepared, you have to do the action again, and then it comes in. It's like not everything is going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
But I really want to talk about this in the lens of confidence, right? Because there's a lot of people that want to move abroad or want to do something, but they hesitate. They say, okay, when I'm ready, I'll do it. When the right time comes around, we'll do it. And we all know that that's just not how this works, right? We have to be willing to be brave and to take courageous action and do things before we're ready. So how has moving to Spain and living abroad shifted your confidence?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like I just showed myself I followed through on what I said I wanted in a really big way. And I think there's no better way to build confidence than that. And especially like when you move abroad or you're, you know, in a new country, like you're navigating a new language, a new culture, a new bureaucracy. Like you are constantly having to show yourself like how to like navigate new things. And I think that just builds your confidence. Again, it's like literally your confidence in action. Even if you think of like traveling, I love like the neuroscience of this, but like your brain is like starting to build new neural pathways because you're having to like do something new. And so I think that just naturally like has opened me up to like see different perspectives, see different possibilities, see different ways of like living. And we can get so stuck in like our own, you know, bubbles, our own ways, our own patterns. I mean, the biggest thing is like, if I think of the process, like it was not easy at all. I had so many no's along the way of moving here, and to like keep going and stick with it, like that I think has really built my confidence of like, oh, I'm not just someone who talks the talk, you know, I don't just talk about wanting to move abroad, or I don't just talk about doing this thing, like I actually freaking did it. Is it perfect? No. It wasn't messy? Absolutely. But it's been so worth it on the other side of that.
Wow. And it really is that follow through. It's like you
Yeah.
said you were going to do this thing and like you showed up for yourself and you did it. And like that's freaking huge. Also, congratulations because it's such a massive season and shift. And I think for a lot of women listening, it will give them that permission slip of like, whatever you desire, you can achieve, but you have to take those baby steps and you have to take messy action. I always say this, but like things might not just fall into place perfectly. A lot of times they don't. A lot of times you're going to be tested and there's going to be things that come up and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, why is this happening? And you're going to have to learn to navigate those challenges. But you're going to navigate them and you're going to build more confidence as a result of that. And so there's a lot of talk right now. I feel like confidence, again, it's like another big buzzword, right, on social media. And I think a lot of us, at least I used to have this idea of confidence as like this loud and bold and like, this is confidence, right? Like the loudest person in the room. And what I've learned over the last couple of years of really being on this self-discovery journey is like confidence actually can be quiet. And it's like you being so rooted in who you are. And so I'm curious, like, what is your actual definition of confidence for the women listening?
Yeah, no, I was the same way as you, like thinking the exact same way. Like it's loud, it's bold, it's just like very visible, magnetic and seen. I don't know, whatever. Um, and I think for me, like even in my early 20s, that is how I defined it. And that's also who I was too. Like that's my personality. I can be very extroverted. I can be like such a people's person, life of the party. I can be that person. And I thought that's what confidence was. And it was just like this feeling or like a prerequisite that I needed before taking action. Like I have to feel confident before, which is like what we've been talking about the whole time, right? Before taking action. And as we've talked about, like that's just not the case. I actually think it can be kind of twofold. Like, yes, it can be a feeling where you feel confident, then you take the action, or you just, are feeling bubbly, magnetic, confident, whatever. But I also think it's something that is like really built in you, and it's much more of like a grounded, like rootedness in yourself. Kind of goes back to that self-trust and that follow through that we've been talking about. It's like when the fear comes up, am I letting like the doubts and the emotions, are they causing me to spiral and like be half in? Or am I actually just like being with myself in that moment, regulating whatever you need to do? Like you can have those big feelings, but it's also like confidence is something that you are actively like building and doing. Like you're taking the next step, the micro steps that we've been talking about. And that I think to me, that is actually so much more the piece of like confidence that we don't really talk about. And I think that's the skill that it doesn't matter if you're extroverted or introverted, like that aside, like anyone can be confident when you look at it from that lens.
Yeah, and I think that's such a beautiful way to put it too, because I do think often we think that we have to be these extroverts to be confident, right? Like I always used to think that. And of course, I was drinking and partying, and I had liquid courage at that point of like, okay, if I'm this way, then I'm confident. But inside, I was very insecure, and I was
same.
I cared so much about what people thought about me. And then as I've gotten older and I've grown and I've learned, I'm like, oh wait, confidence is quiet, and it's like I know my values and I know what I stand for, and I'm so rooted in this that no matter what anyone else on the outside says, like it's not going to shake you off of your unique path. And so it really gives all the people listening who might be introverts that confidence of like, you can be confident if you're an introvert, right? That doesn't actually matter, because it's not about what everyone else says that's looking at your life from the outside. It's like, who are you, and are you leading that from your truth?
Yeah, exactly. Like, are you owning who you really are? And like liking and appreciating all parts of you too. I think that's a big piece. Like maybe you are more quiet and grounded, and that's like your personality, or like it's like owning that, or it's owning that you might have this duality. Like I said, I can be like the fun bubbly, but I also like can be really highly sensitive and like have a good cry, or someone can like throw me off a little. But it's I think years of therapy having to like really reflect on that. It's like not shaming any part of you and really just like owning who you are truly to your core. And that is actually, I think, so much more of the true confidence, and then going and like staying on your pathway or whatever it is that you want to do, and like living out from that place. So
yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think you said it perfectly. It's like owning who you are and like really being so grounded in that. And another thing that just popped into my mind, because you mentioned like the self-love piece as well, I think that also really ties into confidence and self-trust, right? It's like falling back in love with yourself. And for the women listening, like there might be someone out there who's like, maybe they're always in relationships. Maybe they're always, again, partying or being out, and they're not giving themselves that chance to like sit with themselves, because it's confronting and it's uncomfortable, right? Like I know we've both been there where it's like, oh, I actually have to sit with these parts of myself. that I've been hiding from the world, or the emotions that I've been suppressing for my entire life, right? So I'm curious too, like, what has that process been like for you? Like sitting with those uncomfortable parts, like, how did you start to do that?
Yeah, yeah. It was hard. I will definitely say that. It was definitely hard. I think because especially when you've like suppressed it for so long, that was like me in my early 20s, like extroverted, appeared confident, hiding and numbing under partying and men and whatever. And just like super insecure, and I just didn't like myself. And so when you do that for years, obviously it's going to be a little hard to look at it for a little bit. But I mean, for me, I used a lot of different things. I think I had a really good therapist who was really into like somatics too. I think, I like can tend to overthink, and I think a lot of us can, where we're so in our head. I'm like, well, I know these feelings and I can intellectualize it, but that's not the same as actually feeling it. And sitting with that and like, yeah, like allowing myself to feel the feelings, allowing myself to cry if I need to cry. Like I thought that was like, I hated crying. Like I didn't cry for years because I was like, ew, I don't like that emotion. Right. And so I think it again, it's like kind of baby steps of like allowing yourself to see those different parts of you, and like removing the shame of it. If we can come at it from that place, you can have so much more compassion for yourself. When you realize like, oh, this is just like a 7-year-old little girl that's like really scared, and that's why she's acting that way, and like that'll just make me cry because I'm like, oh, sweetie.
So good. And it really is the baby steps and the compassion and the reparenting that inner child, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what did that little girl need to hear or feel at that point in her life, right? Like the safety, the reassurance, the love, the attention, right? That we didn't get. And oftentimes it is a past part of ourself that's coming out. And yeah, it's really beautiful. But I think like the self-love, the self-trust, the confidence, like they're all so deeply intertwined. And when we can just show up for ourselves and to start to sit with those parts and to start to just sit through the shit, right? Like sit through the discomfort and the uncertainty and love ourselves through that. And it's a process. I always tell people this, but if you were, numbing out for 15, 20 years of your life, if you were in toxic relationships, if you were abandoning yourself, then give yourself equal patience and compassion as you learn to rebuild and love yourself and trust yourself. Like it's not going to be an overnight process.
No. And it'll go faster than you think. Like, it will, but you have to be patient. We're so quick to like, I want this immediately. Like, especially when you become self-aware and you see, like the patterns of their problems, you're like, I just want to fix it. And you're like, yeah, you will get there, but you have to be patient in the process. And you can't speed it up to a certain point, right? Because you've done so much numbing, or you've done so much, put your worth into toxic relationships, like that for however long. It's like, yeah, you have to give yourself some grace and some compassion there, because it is going to take a little bit of time, but it also won't take as long as you think. It's like a twofold.
Oh my gosh, it really is. It's just it's a journey. It's an evolution.
Yeah. And you're always on it, right? Like, that's
Exactly.
life.
That's why I say like have a little fun with it. Like have
Yeah.
fun with your inner child. Like give yourself more space to play. Like make this like an actual game for yourself instead of like being so hard on yourself always and taking everything so serious. Like have more fun.
Yeah. No, literally. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it is that serious, but it's not that serious. Like, have some more fun with it. Yeah, exactly.
So, Krystal, tell me a little bit more. I know you work with women. You help them build confidence and become the most iconic version of themselves, which I love. I know you have an online community. Like, tell us a little bit more, like, about your process. Like, what do you offer?
Yeah. So I have kind of twofold. Like, I also have like a membership that's kind of a podcast where people who are really like DIY, I mean, want to just kind of like listen in, plug in. I feel like very similar to you. Like, I like using my voice. That's like one way of, I guess like reclaiming like parts of me. And also that's just how I like to deliver things. So there's that piece. But then I also have like the community and the coaching and mentorship side. I think it's really for the women. And like, I was so stuck in this of like, I knew exactly what I needed to do. Like I had read so many self-help books, podcasts. I had even like gone to therapy, done a lot of the work, but it's not the same thing as knowing versus like integrating. And I don't think there are that many spaces. I mean, there might be, but like there aren't that many spaces out there and people who really help you like integrate what you already know. And like even therapy, like therapy is great. I love my therapist, but like she's not with me Monday to Friday, like in my back pocket when I'm like starting to spiral, and then she really helps me with the past stuff. But I think in the present, when you're catching your patterns, when you're catching the times that you want to abandon yourself, or you are starting to say, oh, this goal, like I want to start a business, but I'm not cut out for this, because it's been a couple weeks of posting content and you haven't seen any new growth. Like it's like those moments that we really need, I think, the support and integration. And so that's really what I built like a community around, is like helping people really like build that self-trust. And I think the self-trust is like your confidence, your self-talk, but it's also putting that in action. And so it's helping people when they're taking the action, really stay with themselves through those pieces, like have the reminders. And it's not just like hype either, it's not like, yeah, I'll give you a pep talk and hype you up. Absolutely. But I think it goes like so much deeper into like your nervous system, into your mindset and your mentality, and just how you're showing up day to day. So there's lots of little tools in there, but that's the main way that I help women in the community. So.
Oh, I love that. And I think more than ever with like the rise of AI and social media, it's like we crave spaces where we feel seen and supported and safe, especially as women. So it's so beautiful that you're offering that. And integration is the key piece, right? Like I was in information overload for so long with my journey of like books and podcasts and courses and certifications. And I'm like, okay, but you have to be embodied in this. Like you have to live it, you have to integrate it. And until then, like it's not actually known and felt.
Right.
And so, spaces where integration is like the main part is so needed. And where can people find you?
Yeah, on Instagram or TikTok, Krystal Budde. It's Krystal Budd, all one word. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Perfect. I will put everything in the show notes with a link to your community, your Instagram. But I like to wrap all the episodes up in a pretty bow with this one question, which is, what is one powerful message that you want all of the listeners to walk away with today?
Yeah, that's so great. I love that question. I think what I would want people to really know and hear is that you don't have to become a different person to build this big life. I think we often think that as we're talking about confidence, like you don't need to be louder, you don't need to be cooler, you don't need to be softer or less emotional, whatever you think you need to be, like you don't need to be those things. I think the goal isn't really to eliminate your sensitivity or to make you feel a certain way or wait until you're fearless to show up. I think really the goal is to help you stop abandoning yourself every time the doubt shows up. And I truly believe that most people aren't actually stuck because they're incapable. They're just stuck because they pull back when it's uncomfortable. And if you can learn to really sit with yourself, to stay with yourself in those moments, to trust that inner voice, that inner guidance, to, follow through even when it's messy and you get 1,000 no's, then you will truly create like the life that you cannot stop thinking about, cannot stop dreaming about. And you will become the person that you're so dang proud of. And I think becoming the person you're proud of is really who you've always been and meant to be. Like that, it's connecting back to that childhood version of you, and just kind of removing the shit and removing the layers and the self-doubt and all of the societal norms or whatever, and when you really tap into that, like you will be living a life that you're so like in love with, obsessed with, and you will be obsessed with you. And I think that's beautiful.
Oh, and that's truly what life is all about. It's like making that little girl version of you and that 90-year-old version of you so freaking proud. It's like it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It's like do the things that light you up, because at the end of the day, like you're not going to get to 90 years old and be like, I wish I worked more. I wish I would have put in more hours. No, you're going to want to be moving to Spain and going traveling and doing all these crazy adventures and spending time with the people you love. Like that is what this life is about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I loved this conversation so much, Krystal. I know someone listening is so lit up and excited to now go chase after their dreams. So thank you so much for being on Her Journey Home.
Yes, thank you for having me. I loved it.
Oh my gosh. And for anyone listening, if you loved this conversation, please go ahead and share it with your community, like and rate the podcast so I can continue having these beautiful conversations. And as always, I will see you for another episode next Thursday.